Hi everyone, welcome to our on-demand webinar on modernising resident communications using ReCollect's collection calendar tool. My name is Phil Blythe and I've worked with Web Aspects and our sister company ReCollect over the past year, helping local authorities across the UK modernise their waste and recycling service. So the tools at ReCollect offer are designed to help residents access the waste service better. It allows them to get information about waste and recycling, which is up to date, relevant and tailored to them. Queries about waste are one of the most common reasons why a resident gets in touch with the council. And it's often a variety of questions that they're asking. Can I recycle this item? Which bin does this item go in? How do I get rid of this item? And we provide a number of digital educational tools to help residents answer these questions. But one of the most common questions that arises is something which, even as waste people within the industry, we sometimes ask ourselves, which is, when's my collection day? Which bin is going out today? And in this webinar, we're going to explain how we can help residents remember their collection day and also look at how councils can use digital tools to improve resident engagement. At first glance, remembering something fairly simple like a collection day seems straightforward, but it's incredibly common how often this issue raises its head. I saw a tweet at the end of last year regarding the binfluencer, or the person who everyone in a street or an estate copies as they put their bin out, which is great until it goes wrong and things change. And ultimately, residents, we don't want them relying on each other so much. We need to give them the power and them the knowledge of when to put bins out and other waste-related queries. But it's a challenge, and it's a challenge because people are busy. They're bombarded with information. They're perhaps in a rush with day-to-day life. So sometimes waste, recycling and bins are often forgotten or back of the mind. And collection days can change, whether that's bank holidays, due to weather, service changes, service disruption. It's not always set in stone. And in this day and age, if the days do change, we're often competing for residents' attention to get the updates and communicate with them about changes due to everything else they've got going on. And this issue is costly. When bins are not put out, they're missed. And missed bins is something that all councils are keen to reduce. At Web Aspects, we estimate the cost of a council returning to a missed bin is around about £30 each time. So not only do we have the cost, the inconvenience, we've then got increased call volumes and inquiries and complaints. So it's frustrating for the council, but it's also frustrating for the resident as well. So how can we tackle this problem? Well, a common trend is through PDF and print calendars. If you've ever been involved in creating these calendars, you'll know that they take a lot of time and resource to create. You've got the challenge of what information to include, making sure the information is 100% correct, and getting all that information in a format that the resident can understand easily. This can take time of several staff members at once, and that time is expensive. And that's just to design and get a product together. We've then got to print and mail the calendars out, which we might have to go out and procure. We might have to find resource to do it internally. And once we've started getting those calendars or information to customers, we're just hoping that the resident actually uses them. Ideally, we'd like them to display the information on a fridge or somewhere they're going to look at. In reality, a lot of times, it goes to the back of a cupboard, back of a drawer, never to be seen again. Or it might come back to us in the waste service. And unfortunately, it might even be returned in the wrong bin, causing contamination in recycling, which we don't want to happen. And with printed things, there's a chance that a mistake may happen. So we'd then have to redo the whole process at additional cost. If things change in the year as well, again, we have to do the whole process again. It's very hard to keep these up to date. We often have to do them quite far out, which can be inconvenient. Another scenario to consider is holidays and bank holidays, because it can be confusing for residents where they don't know if their collection dates are going to be affected by bank holidays, which ones will have an impact, which ones won't. And again, it's often back of mind because they're busy thinking about holiday season. They're perhaps not thinking about bins. So when they come to see that their bin hasn't been collected, straight away it's unexpected, and they're then phoning the council to ask what's happened. On the other side of things, residents who are maybe more aware will actually contact the council to check, is this a collection day going to change due to the bank holiday, etc. So from both sides, it can be confusing and frustrating again for both residents and councils. So making this kind of update and these changing dates seamless means that residents get to focus on what matters to them. Of course, there's other delays which may happen, which are perhaps not we're able to plan for, whether it's due to weather issues, whether it's due to vehicle issues, or as we've seen through COVID, driver shortages. There was a huge impact across a number of different services as we weren't able to get vehicles out on time. Residents, perhaps if they weren't accessing websites, they weren't getting information, they didn't really know what's going on. So it's key to keep residents in the know about any changes which may be happening. And that's true for if we're launching a brand new round or amending an existing route. Residents who know their normal collection day and their normal pattern, if they suddenly have to learn a new one, that can cause confusion, questions, and complaints, especially if they're not kept up to date as to the why we're changing, and if they feel like they're doing the right thing, yet their bins aren't collected. And it's due to a lack of real-time information. That's what residents would ideally like, all the information they need when they need it. They can see if they're having a delivery from a parcel company, they may get consistent updates as it goes through the process, or even able to see the name of the driver who's dropping it off. And that's the kind of information that they'd like, ideally, from all the services, including waste. So there's a number of reasons why residents would get in touch with the council through phone calls, etc. And there may be dedicated teams to handle these queries, but it's a very reactive solution to the problem. It takes up residents' time, it takes up staff members' time as well, and it's a frustrating experience for both of them. And people are busy. The last thing they want to do is have to then, deal with an issue about their bins and call up and be put on hold and perhaps struggle to get an answer immediately. And it's also making it hard for customer service teams to actively manage residents' expectations and make sure that they're not putting in complaints and they're not unhappy. So another way to tackle the issue is through email, or an email blast, an approach where we send out communication to a huge amount of our population. So this is going to be suitable for some residents, but it's not an effective solution for everyone. There will be people who are not really connected to email, not checking their email, or they find that email is easy for them to ignore. So our communications will be missed. Also, if it's not our residents' preferred method of communication, probably means it's just going to get missed in their inbox anyway. And if it's not specific to them, it probably is going to be irrelevant. And what we've seen at ReCollect is that residents who receive too many irrelevant emails about waste are more likely to unsubscribe from the service, which means we won't be able to communicate with them again and defeats the point of the email shop that we're doing. So how can we make collection schedules easier to understand? Well, that's where ReCollect and our tools come in. It's important for residents to understand this information and get access to it, but really the waste service often lags behind on the digital front compared to other council services. What we want to do is provide a digital alternative to residents so they can receive real-time information in whichever format they choose. Why digital? Well, it's one of the most cost-effective ways to communicate with your residents. At ReCollect, we believe that our residents want to do the right thing, even if that's getting their bin out on time, recycling correctly, or providing information effectively. And using digital tools can help us drive behaviour change better. We're able to get the information to residents in a way that they like, in a way that fits with their workflow, and in a way that fits with their lifestyle. And our collection calendar is an easy-to-use tool that allows residents to get the information they want and need. So the collection calendar, it embeds easily into existing websites or a companion app, which can also be provided that residents can download. The colour and font can be matched to fit in with existing websites. And to interact with the tool and get their schedule, residents have to simply put their address in and they'll get a personalised, address-specific calendar collection of events. You can even add additional events, perhaps, or collection day changes, which we can see reflected in the calendar. And they can understand that as perhaps bank holidays occur, their recycling or their waste dates will change. The collection calendar tool is also a communication tool, really. So it allows residents to sign up for reminders of their collection day in a way that most suits their lifestyle. And they can sign up for as many reminders as they'd like. They can receive a notification about their bins at a time that makes most sense for them. So this could be on the day of collection, it could be the morning, or it could be the night before, whatever works for them, which again helps to reduce call volume because we don't have then residents ringing up asking which bins are getting collected and when. Residents really do want to do the right thing. Again, whether it's just getting their bins out on time or getting recycling done better. So that's where our campaign feature comes into play. So the campaign feature allows you to display educational information with reminders. So it kind of piggybacks onto the reminder we're already sending out to residents, and it also appears right above the calendar. We've seen an example campaign here, which is targeting recycling on windy days. But whether that's perhaps making residents aware of a special event, whether it's making them aware that certain materials can't go in certain bins, or whether it's just encouraging better recycling behaviour, we're able to provide information through a click of a button that all residents can see. And we can keep that updated and changing as we already send out reminders, which is a fantastic opportunity to better communicate with them. Similar to campaigns, the calendar also includes a feature we call service alerts. So this allows us to send information to residents to make sure that they're notified if anything happens to their normal service. So this could be weather related, it could be to do with traffic, delays, a vehicle breakdown, driver shortages, etc. And any resident who signed up for reminders will receive these special service alerts, which stand by themselves. Even if residents haven't opted into reminders, they'll still receive these alerts to update them that something perhaps has happened. And these alerts, they're not always going to be relevant to every single member of our population. So we can specify who will receive the alerts. That could be on a certain route, it could be on a certain day, or as we've seen the example here, we could select a certain area, so only residents in this specific area will receive the service alert. If we're unable to access these properties due to a road blockage, we're able to only communicate with them and keep it relevant. That means that if we're reducing irrelevant communications, residents are more likely to be appreciative and more likely to continue being happy to receive reminders. So where the collection calendar offers a lot of value to residents, but there's more than meets the eye to it. So council staff are able to access a huge amount of information, whether it's actually physically making changes to calendar collection dates, or whether it's seeing usage numbers, or how people have used the calendar, how many people have viewed it, how many have printed or downloaded it, etc. And we can see adoption rates if they're using it through a website or a mobile app, which really allows us to build up an idea so we can develop targeted communications to residents, and we can understand what's important to residents, what do they find of interest regards waste and recycling. So to wrap this up, we need to really look at existing call strategies, how we're tackling inbound communications and inbound requests from residents compared to digital solutions. We often find our digital solutions are cost negative when compared to other approaches, such as hiring extra staff to deal with calls. Again, that's very reactive. What we want to do is get ahead of the issue and prevent it from happening. So it's not about replacing existing staff. It's about enabling them to do more with their time and improving the efficiency of operations. Using proactive digital communications tools allows them to free up their time and work on more pressing matters whilst helping your residents to get a better experience from the council. Digital is obviously growing. It's not just young people who are using technology to get information. We see that more and more of our population are happy to use digital tools to get information quickly. We see that people of all ages are more digital native. They're happy using digital communication tools, whether it's smartphones, tablets, or computers. So in summary, using a digital strategy can increase the engagement that we have with our residents. Online digital tools used to be considered quite futuristic and quite fancy, but that's not the case. Digital's here with us now, and it's ever more popular. We can become more efficient, increase the amount of time staff can spend doing more important tasks, reduce the number of phone calls, and become more proactive by empowering residents to find the information they need quickly and easily themselves. And this then creates a better connection with residents by strengthening our communications and helping them to build more trust in our organisation. Well, that wraps up today's webinar. Thank you very much for joining and taking the time out to look at our collection calendar solution and learning how to communicate better with residents. If you're interested in learning more about the work that we're doing with governments in the UK, I'd be really happy to chat with you further and answer any questions you have. You can book an email through the website or connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.